Last week's announcement of a better-than-projected GDP growth for 2022 underscores an economic growth momentum substantiated by the country's currency, posting strong gains against the almighty US dollar and propped up by a lower-than-expected debt-to-GDP ratio last year. PTV's Naomi Tiburcio tells us more.
After the country's debt increased and the economy weakened during the height of the pandemic, the economy is finally and gradually recovering with a national debt that has further reduced at the end of 2022. In the report of the Bureau of the Treasury, the total outstanding debt of the government dropped to 13.42 trillion pesos in December, less than 225 billion pesos in November. Because of this, the debt-to-GDP ratio declined to 60.9% from 63.7% in the third quarter of last year. This is the lowest debt-to-GDP ratio of the country in a year, also lower than the government forecast of 62%. The debt-to-GDP ratio measures a country's ability to pay its debt based on the size and strength of the economy. According to Deputy Treasurer Attorney Erwin Santa Ana, this could be related to the strengthening of our economy in the last quarter, the easing of restrictions, entry of tourists in the country, and government's increasing tax collection. As for economist Michael Ricafort, the lower debt-to-GDP ratio is good news for potential investors.
Mas makakaakit pa po tayo, makakapaghikayat pa po tayo na mas maraming mamumuhunan sa ating bansa, lalo na from abroad. Mas makakahiram po yung ating bansa sa mas mababang interest rate or borrows, mas favorable na mga terms.
The Department of Finance is confident that the debt-to-GDP ratio will continue to fall below 60% by 2025 and 51.1% by 2028. And it is even possible to achieve an even lower target ratio.
Kung i-maintain natin ang fiscal discipline, itong outstanding revenue performance at the continuous opening of the economy, yung trajectory niyan ng debt to GDP will continue to go down, even lower than what was targeted by government based on the medium-term fiscal program.
Meanwhile, yesterday, the peso closed at 53 pesos against the US dollar. This is one of the strongest performances by the peso in the past 7 months. This is due to the continued weakening of the dollar, leading to a lower than expected interest rate hike in the US. The Marcos administration believes this is the result of sound and effective fiscal and financial policies, which is expected to influence the growth of the economy in the coming years.
We take pride that we now can claim that the Philippines is now the fastest rising economy in the Asia-Pacific region. With the current growth momentum, the Philippines is poised to reach upper middle income status very soon.
Naomi Tiburcio for The Nation.